Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, your go-to destination for all things iOS development and more. I'm your host, Jim, and today we're diving into the exciting world of Web3 integration for your iOS app. So in this two-parts series, we will explore the Coinbase iOS SDK and learn how to seamlessly integrate it with SwiftUI to take your app to the next level. But before we begin, don't forget to show your support by hitting that like button, leaving a comment, and subscribing to the channel so you don't miss any of my future content. So in today's video, we're going to take a deep dive into the Coinbase iOS SDK. And first of all, we're going to take a look at the documentation, and understanding the SDK is the first step to unlocking the full potential of a Web3 for your iOS app. We'll also walk through how to import the SDK and set up the crucial deep link integration. So let's get started by exploring the documentation together. Then we'll dive into the coding demo, where I will walk you through the step-by-step process of importing the SDK and setting up the deep link. It's going to be a fantastic journey, and I promise you will leave with a solid grasp of the Coinbase iOS SDK. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to drop them in the comment section, and I will do my best to assist you on this journey. We're going to take a look at the Coinbase SDK documentation here, and feel free to go to this Cocoa link or Swift Package Manager section, go take a look at each detailed implementation, or go to their GitHub page. But for us, we're going to skip the Cocoa part. So for us, we're going to go to this with a package manager section. We're going to copy this link right here so that we can use to integrate it. Then afterwards, we can come back to this setup page. So we have a few things need to do, and I'll explain some more detailed stuff about this universal link after. All right, here's our preset project, just a blank project that contains nothing. We're going to go to the project setting here. We're going to go to the project and go to dependency, package dependencies, or you can just add it from this file, drop down menu and go to the package. Normally it should have a, it's right here. It's add package dependencies. You can go from there as well, or you can go from here. Personally, I like to go from this way, so I'm going to go from here and tap on this plus button right here, and just simply paste in this link. It'll show up this package wallet mobile SDK. Then you can choose your version. Personally, I like to choose the minor version, just in case if they have any small changes, I want to include them in my latest app. So let's add that package, and just simply add package. And you should already have all the Coinbase Wallet SDK's information, the package right here. And in order to use that, you can technically, you can just import it. Coinbase Wallet SDK. Here's our first step to integrate the SDK through our package manager. All right, let's go back to the documentation and talk about the deep linking part. It's going to be slightly different from the MetaMask iOS SDK integration. If you saw my video, I'll put a link on top somewhere that you can easily link over to see the MetaMask iOS SDK integration. So in this setup documentation here for the Coinbase iOS SDK, they did mention Coinbase Wallet mobile SDK uses universal links to communicate between Coinbase Wallet and your application. Before the SDK can be used, it needs to be configured with a universal link to your application. This callback URL will be used by the Coinbase Wallet application to navigate back to the application. And if you click on this universal link here, it's going to take you to the Apple's documentation page, basically explain to you what's new in the universal link, what's a universal link, and all that kind of information. So I'm going to save you some time. I'm going to directly show you what you can do to directly hook up your app and communicate with the Coinbase wallet. we do need set up something and also to implement some code in order, for example, like here, the application open URL. So this is a pretty standard way of implementing that in the UI kit. But since we're using SwiftUI, it's going to be slightly different here. You can also open up the example they provided, but they're basically providing in the UI kit format. So let me show you what you can do in the SwiftUI. So in the SwiftUI, it's actually pretty straightforward and pretty convenient. The first thing we want to do is here, right after your content view, you can pretty much just set on open URL. And this basically it will be triggered whenever another place trying to open the application here. It will be calling here, and then you will actually receive an URL. So from the either you call universal link or I call it deep linking. Universal link to me is actually a different thing because it's specifically towards Apple products. Okay, so for now, let's just print out whatever the URL we're getting back. Let's print out the absolute string. Okay, so that's the first step. The second thing, in order for the deep link to work, you have to go to project, go to your target, and go to, I believe it's info, yes. The URL type, you're gonna expand this, and you can tap on this plus sign. It's gonna be adding a new URL type here. The only thing you gotta do is actually adding your custom URL scheme. For us, we're gonna call it Coin Swift. I'm gonna use this project name for it, colon dash dash. So that's gonna be our custom scheme there. Identifier, everything here you can just leave as it is. It doesn't matter too much. If you truly want, you can expose identifier. So whenever deep linking happens, the Coinbase wallet app will be able to see what's the identifier, or what kind of application, or what's the identifier actually calling from. But for our demo purpose, we're just going to use the URL schemes here instead. And I'm going to keep all lowercase. So it's more consistent like a URL scheme. All right, so that's the thing we need to do to make sure whenever we're making a connection to the Coinbase wallet can actually sense back to this application we're using. So now let's go back to our CoinSwiftUI app here. So whenever that sends back, it will have a URL sends back. Basically, it's going to be the similar URL scheme. I believe so. It actually sends back. And afterwards, we're going to have another, whenever we receive the URL, we actually need to insert into the Coinbase wallet SDK. So we understand that the process has been completed, the connection has been established, so that it can actually process to give us to retrieving the information for us. So in order to do that, we're going to call, there's a function in here. If you go back to the documentation, you can see they're actually calling this try Coinbase wallet SDK.share and handle response. Basically just passing the URL direct into it, and Coinbase will handle everything it need to handle. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this thing here, but in the SwiftUI. So let's go do it. So right here, we're going to do a underscore equal to, because this function does return a Boolean to indicate if it's true or false, or if it succeeds or not. But we don't really care much about that at the moment. So we're just going to be, try call this, call Coinbase, or the SDK.shared, and handles the response. You can actually implement some more custom logic here. For example, you can say handle different type of URL. You might have a different application or different thing, or maybe some other stuff that's opening this application, might have passing a URL into it. So you might want to do a check for the URL scheme, see if that's equal to what's the URL you're expecting from the Coinbase before you're actually calling this function right here. But for our demo purpose, we're just gonna call this directly. So after that, basically we want to create a view model so that we can actually put it into this SwiftUI view, and we can actually start to trying to get information, or at least establish a communication. So let's start with the file. We're gonna call it a Coinbase repo. And we're gonna be calling class and Coinbase repo, and we're gonna use observable object. And eventually we want to pass back the address, the ETH address from the wallet. And also making a connection. And preferably it's going to be async call. So that will be our view model to call it, and we're going to add that directly into the view here. So I'm going to call state object private part. And we're going to call it Coinbase repo equal to Coinbase repo. And we want to eventually adding a few things here, like showing the address. For the address. And we're gonna call Coinbase repo.eth address. And then afterwards, we want to also give a button so that we can actually initiating the connection. And then here we're going to be calling Coinbase repo dot connect to Coinbase. And of course, we have to run this in an async way. And we have an async away, so we're going to need a try away to handle it. So basically, whenever we tap on this button, we want to make an establish to the Coinbase. And then after it completes come back, we want to be able to display the Ethereum address on top. So that's how you integrate Coinbase iOS SDK with SwiftUI into your app. So thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date. And I'll see you in the exciting world of Web3. Until next time, happy coding.